Alright, welcome back to Milka Garage. In today's video, really quick, I'm trying to make this short, simple, and sweet to help people out there that are doing these three common things, and that is either replacing your radio, fixing your radio, whatever, cigarette lighter, and or hooking up a tack if your car didn't have a tack. Alright, so this video will cover from 87 to 90. Your 82 to 86 model celebrities, Eurosport, don't matter, will be different. The dash is totally different than the 87 to 90 that I'm going to cover. So to start this, you will need a Phillips head screwdriver and a tiny little flathead screwdriver. First thing you want to do is, as you can see, mine's already taken apart. You see this bezel. Your bezel will be installed, and in order to get the bezel off first, you will need to go to your headlight switch, and that will involve a flathead, because if you turn your headlight switch a certain way, exactly to where it lines up, so you can take a flathead just like this, you want to pry this way towards yourself, which when turns, push this tab inwards and it will slide right off. The next thing you want to do is you'll have this little guy on there, just like so. If I can get it back on there, you want to take a flathead screwdriver, knock it loose, be easy with it, and it comes right off. Once you get that off, the next thing you want to do is yours, if it's never been touched, you'll have 3 screws, one there, one right above your AC controls, and one right above your radio. You take those 3 Phillips head screws out. Some of them, they should look like something like this, just a regular, very short Phillips head screw. I've had some of them look like this. But anyway, you get those out, get all that apart. Your next job is to get the cigarette lighter out. Now, some of these cars, for some reason, has your cigarette lighter installed into the dash itself. Mine, however, has to be installed through the bezel, which is a pain in the butt, and I'm going to show you why, in case yours is done like mine is. In order to get to this guy and get it out, you've got to remove your ashtray. So when you pull your ashtray out toward you, you got to push down on this tab right here, this big long lever, push it down, and it will pop out of the dash. Be very, very careful, because these little sliders right here that are plastic will break. I've had that happen, and I've had to fix it many, many times on these cars. And that goes for several A-bodies out there. Once you get that part, there is a Phillips head screw straight up here, and same thing on this side. Once you get those out, this whole tray will move back and forth. You want to move it to the right side so you can get your hands up in here to the back of the dash if you got small hands, and unplug this connector. It's an orange black wire. Pull this tab outward, pull that tab outward, pop it right off. Be careful if your vehicle still has the battery connected, because if it touches anything with metal, the orange wire is your power wire, and it will ground out and spark. Once you unplug that, your cigarette lighter, as all of them do, will have this little cover on the very end. That little cover screws off of it counterclockwise. Once you get that off, some of them are very stuck up and have never been touched in a long time. I've had very difficulty of removing these off. Once you get that out and you get it unplugged, it will slide right out, and then your whole bezel will come out from the dash. If your shifter's on the column like mine, you will need to pull it all the way down, move the steering column down if you've got tilt, and proceed to remove your bezel straight out, just like so, and lay it to the side. If you're replacing your radio, there is one 7mm and one there, and there's one way up in there behind the dash. My advice is to just shove that thing to the side and get a 1/4 inch socket, which is what I've been using to get them out. I never put the bolt back up in there. It's just senseless. Really, you just need that one and this one here, and you'll get it out. And that goes from aftermarket or stock. Once you get that out, the whole thing will slide out of the dash, and you can unplug it, put your aftermarket in with an adapter harness, and you're done. As for your heater controls, if you ever have to do anything to that, there's 4 7mm bolts, 2 on this side, 2 on this side. Once you do that, this whole piece will slide out. Be careful, there's vacuum hoses and connections to the back side of it, and you can swap that out or change it or do whatever you need to. Your factory tack, very, very rare. VR models mostly had it, that I'm aware of. Will sit right here in this spot. If you've never had a tack, you're going to be doing what I'm about to do. Take these 3 7mm bolts out. This is your headlight switch. And we're going to pull that out, and your connector should be behind the dash like mine is, because GM was very weird about never changing anything, which is a good thing. So most of the time your connectors are still there, even though your car was not optioned with it. Alright, got the bolts out. We'll go ahead and just pull the switch, careful with it, out towards you, and just lay that down to the side just like I'm doing. Right here is what I've tapped into. Let me see if I can get that connector out. Alright, so it's a 5-wire connector. Very simple, easy to hook up. Any aftermarket tack's going to have all the wires you need. You just need to get a set of T-taps like I did. Amazon carries them. Any part store carries them. They're called T-taps. But there's 5 wires. You only need to connect into, I think it was just 4 of them. The 5th one's not used. Alright, so your pink with a black stripe is your red hot wire. That's what gives the tack power when the key is turned on only. Your tack signal from the engine itself is your green wire from your tack, goes to the big white wire, solid white wire, to the connector. Tap into that one. For your lights, that is a dark brownish color wire. You'll take your white wire from your tack, tap into the so-called brown dark wire for your lights, and then your ground, of course, is going to be the black as always. You tap into that one. Once you do all that, you're done. Turn on your headlight switch. As you see the lights come on, lights go off. That tack does not get any power until the key is on or the engine is running. And that's pretty much it. It's plug and play. It's very simple. I'm still looking for a factory tack, but for the most part, I'm probably just going to keep my aftermarket because I like it a lot better. And just like that, that's about it. You just put everything back together, back into the dash like so. And that's it. You're done. That's how you hook up your aftermarket tack into your 87 to 90 Chevy Celebrity. Like I said, this is a little bit different process. I don't know if that connector is going to be there for every Celebrity out there, and I don't know if they even have it for the earlier models. However, like I said, mine is a Eurosport, so I don't know if that was something that was just added because of that package, or if it's just there for every other Celebrity out there. The connector is kind of taped under the dash when you first see it. You have to kind of rip it out of the factory tape that's taped up underneath the dash to another wiring harness. Once you remove that, you can pull the connector out like I did to be able to tap into it. Something else I want to note, just in case somebody else comments about this, my door chime is one of these right here. It's a brown one. Changes it to this style of door chime. When your key is in it, turn the key on. It dings like that. When you have your headlights on, it dings a little faster. And you can get that from any, I got this one specifically from a 87 Buick Regal custom model at the junkyard. But also, there's other vehicles out there that GM had that shared the same door chime, which is the Chevy Camaros, the early 90s Chevy Camaros, Firebird, Trans Am, all use this same door chime. Looks just like this. I think brown was like their color for this style of door chime. There's some other vehicles out there. I think the old Buick LeSabres had the same door chime. Also, another one out there, the Oldsmobile Regency, Broham, if I'm not mistaken, had the same door chime. So there's plenty of vehicles out there that you could try to search, go to the junkyard and grab one of these to change it over. I can't stand the factory door chime that these came with. Also, something else I want to note real quick. If you're looking to change your gauge cluster or remove it to change the bulbs in it that have burned out, I have a video on the channel I will leave linked in the description or in the comment section for you to check out. But as far as swapping your gauge cluster package from one that has idiot lights to gauges like I did, it's very simple, very easy to do. I don't have a video on it, but I'll go ahead and just cover this real quick. It's plug and play. You pull this cluster out, you put the other one in, and the only thing you got to do is change the sensor for the temperature gauge, which is on the back of the head of the block, driver's side corner. Swapping out a sensor, and that's it. Then you'll have gauges. Your fuel gauge will work, your battery gauge is automatically going to work, and then your temperature gauge will work. I swapped my mileage over when I swapped this over 5 years ago, and I've never had a problem. But I believe that's going to do it for this video. I'm pretty sure I covered everything that you should need to know in order to add your aftermarket tach in your 87 to 90 Chevy Celebrity. Comment below, let me know if you have any problems. I'll try my best to answer them. And as always, like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys later in the next one. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more tips and tricks for your older GM A-body front-wheel drive cars.